kind of transition over to freezing rain. And yeah, a lot of areas aren't used to seeing this. Significant snow as well. We have to mention this. We can't forget about that for portions of eastern North Carolina and I think extreme southeast Virginia. That's where you could see some of the higher totals for places like Virginia Beach. We were tracking the cold front yesterday. We're still seeing some lingering showers across the coast. But if I take you in a little closer, you see that pink on your screen. That's that precip that is transitioning as cold air is just rushing in across the region. A closer look at the Carolinas right along the freezing mark here, just along the coast. So, you're looking at Wilmington to Myrtle Beach, Charleston. You're not there yet, but you are seeing some of those rain showers more interior. You'll find some colder temperatures as well. And I wanted to show you those road temperatures across the Carolinas. Look at the cold air rushing in and those road temperatures well below the freezing mark. So that means any of that freezing rain that's coming down, it's making contact and it is freezing on that surface. That's why it's called freezing rain. So ice storm warnings out for Myrtle Beach up through New Bern. Stay off the roads if you can throughout the day and tomorrow morning. We also have those winter storm warnings up there for Elizabeth City and the Norfolk area. So there's that storm area of low pressure tracking its way out into the Atlantic. You have plenty of cold air rushing in back behind it. So many of us below average for temperatures for today, but it is across the Carolinas that we have to watch for that mixed precip, especially because for today you're not seeing much warming. You're staying below 32 degrees, 20s, and many of you will be very cold even into those overnight hours. So it's ice to snow, especially across the extreme coastal areas there for southeast Virginia. That's where you can see those higher snow totals. But of course, no one wins when it comes to ice. I always say you might be a great driver in the snow, but look at how much ice we're expecting here, and look how far south this stretches. Even into portions of Georgia, we have to be mindful of that, and it doesn't get out of there until Saturday morning. Falling to the teens for Greensboro tonight, for Roanoke, for Richmond, Virginia Beach. You'll be right on that line, 32 degrees, and this is an area that we'll look for in that darker shade of purple, that you have the significant impacts. And I do think we could see more downed trees, power lines. We mentioned the dangerous travel. You have to remember that bridges and overpasses are the first to freeze, and we're most likely already seeing that. So from Florence to Myrtle Beach, points north, Wilmington, and then right there, Greenville, you're on the line. Look for those significant impacts. I wanted to show you this. This is already ongoing right now. We're talking 5 a.m. Friday. That's already passed through the day, through the evening hours. That's why I said still looking like dangerous travel even as we take it into Saturday. Columbia, South Carolina, over 1/10 of an inch expected there. We have to also talk about the snow totals. I mentioned places like Virginia Beach, you could see 6 to 12 inches. Anywhere there, I would say for 3 to 6, Raleigh, you might see 1 to 3 inches, and that's about it. Once we get past this, it's calm, it's quiet, the sunshine returns for many of us. It's still cold, but then by the time we get to Sunday, some of that cold air, it retreats to the north a little bit. It won't be as cold. So some good news to end out the weekend, at least with Bernie. A lot to watch for over the night. We are going to be dealing with some treacherous travel and those conditions going downhill throughout the afternoon, the evening hours, and even into tomorrow. You just really don't want to mess with the icing situation that we are seeing set up. And then, of course, some significant snow that we're tracking for northeast North Carolina and extreme southeast Virginia. And with all that being said, we have plenty of cold air in place to see that mixing. It's already occurring. We're tracking some rain showers across coastal South Carolina, just offshore there of Charleston, Myrtle Beach. You're seeing a few sprinkles. Notice the pink that you're starting to see. It's this transition here to some freezing rain. And so let's show you the road temperatures, because if that road temperature is 32 or below, which it is, where you can see all of the areas here highlighted in blue, that means that it's going to be freezing on contact, making for those slick surfaces and then accumulating as we go on throughout the day today. So air temperatures themselves are in the 20s for Greensboro, Raleigh, Wilmington, as we mentioned, and then points south, it's above the freezing mark, but it's not going to take long before we start to see those numbers drop too. Ice storm warnings out from Myrtle Beach to New Bern, and then up from Greenville to Elizabeth City and Norfolk as well. You have those winter storm warnings at play. So area of low pressure will track its way out to the Atlantic. There's the cold air rushing in back behind it, meeting up with the precipitation. We're not seeing much warming for today and even for tonight. Many of these temperatures that you see right here, they're going downhill. They won't be fluctuating too much, and they'll be staying below 32 and in fact dropping to the teens for many. That's why we're expected any of those untreated surfaces to become very slick out there, reduced visibility for sure, and we could see that ice accumulation get up to 1/4 1/4 to half an inch in many places, even down into some parts of South Carolina, because this will continuously go on throughout the night. And I do think by daybreak you're talking about some snow showers right along the coastal areas, and also the potential to see some sleet. That's why we have significant impacts from places like Florence out to Myrtle Beach, past Wilmington, up into Jacksonville, North Carolina, Greenville, extending out even to Columbia, South Carolina. You could see some of those impacts too. I mentioned those low temperatures. Teens tonight from Richmond to Roanoke to Greensboro. It is going to be very cold. Here's a quick look at a wintercast for you for Columbia, South Carolina. Over 1/10 of an inch expected, probability on that 61%. All right, and if you're planning to get out